Okay, so we're working again. This time with sound. Keep forgetting to switch the microphone on, which is a pain in the bottom. Um, right, no one watching just yet, so I'm going to quickly go onto Facebook on the phone and see what's happening and see who is here, if anybody. Oh, we're working again. Ooh. This time with sound. One viewer. Hello, one viewer. Switch the microphone on. Let's turn that off. Okay. So now I can actually see if there's any questions and stuff popping up. Hello, one viewer. It's Tuesday evening, and I managed to get some work done. My daily work sort of quota done for the day. I've got a private jobby thing that I need to do a few hours on tonight. Gareth, hi Gareth, how you doing? Oh, I was talking about you the other day. All good stuff, all good stuff. I was asking about your potential plans for a Red Dwarf audio. So I wonder how that's coming along. Um, I heard you're moving back to the UK. Okay. Yeah, let me know how it's going. Um, right. Well, at the moment, like I say, there's only, by the looks of it, one person watching, and it will probably go up to about five tops. So big audience. Um, I would like to ask y'all out there, and obviously waffle a lot myself, about the big news in Doctor Who that Russell T Davies has been appointed as the next showrunner, starting at the 60th anniversary celebration, and it does say series onwards. Draft storyline done for Red Dwarf. Awesome. Red Draft. Yeah, can't wait. Been watching some Red Dwarf recently. Really, really, really like it. Um, so yeah, Russell T Davies, who was the man who was tasked with bringing Doctor Who back to the screens after about 16 years or whatever it was, or 7 years after the Paul McGann movie. Brought it back in 2005 with a number of changes. But if you watch the Paul McGann movie, 2005's Doctor Who owes a lot to that movie. It's quite a nice continuity in a way. There's a lot of things that at the time people said, "Oh, the Paul McGann movie was too Americanized and it got loads of things wrong." But at the same time, it's only because it was very different from the 1980s, classic Who on TV. But then it shares a lot of similarities with New Who. So anyway, um, I am going to call it like I see it. When I heard Russell T Davies was appointed, I was overjoyed. I was shocked. I was amazed. Never saw that coming. And I was overjoyed. I was like, yeah, and I'm still very happy that he's going to come back. So I'm really excited to see what he does. But I'm going to be completely realistic, like a lot of people. I've been watching YouTube videos and other people's comments from the sublime to the ridiculous, from the people who are absolutely in love with it to the haters, and I'm just in the middle. I'm really happy that he's back. I can't think of anyone better really to who knows the show. Um, but we've got to be a bit thing. Are you worried, Gareth? Well, everyone's. Well, I've got some worries as well, and I'll explain what they are. I'm trying to keep a level head on this because, as a friend of mine said, um, what you got to remember is not all of Russell T Davies's episodes or shows were perfection. They were great, but there were some duds. And the one thing a lot of people are selectively forgetting is by the end of Russell T Davies's run, there were quite a lot of people calling for his firing. Oh, bring Stephen Moffat in, bring someone else in. We've had enough of him, etc. It did happen. I'm not making this up. Just the way that when Stephen Moffat joined, everyone was like, "Yes, finally, decent Doctor Who." And by the end of Moffat's run, get him out, fire him, bring someone else in. Chibnall jumps in, yes, decent Doctor. So it's the same thing. It's like when you change the Doctor. Um, when you change the showrunner, the fans love them to begin with, hate them at the end, ask for someone new, love that new person, then hate them at the end of it. And that's unfortunately the world we live in. And what's added now since 2005 is that we are now living in a world in social media where big chunks of fandom, maybe the vocal ones, maybe they're not big chunks, maybe they're just very loud, have this massive sense of entitlement, which is new to me because when I was younger, back in my day, oh God, back in my day, when Star Wars 2 came out, It wasn't like, I'm not satisfied. I demand to cancel George Lucas. It's like, that's the film. Like it or lump it. That's what he wants to make. That's the film. That's what you're getting. Shut up and if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's as simple as it was. And I wish it would still be that way. Unfortunately, um, nowadays people think they can control what they're watching just by crying about it or getting angry or whatever or doing petitions and all this, hashtag Snyder Cut, Ayer Cut stuff. And while people will be no doubt going, yes, but release the Snyder Cut worked. Guess what, guys? It ain't going to happen again. Don't think it will. It ain't going to happen again because what did the fans do once they got their Snyder Cut? Nout. They didn't say thank you. They did nothing. They just whinged about other stuff. Let's see what that comment says. He said he didn't want to come back from. So for me, BBC have given him some stuff to tempt him, and I'll bet my left arm the new Doctor will be Ollie Alexander, and it'll be even more woke in his second run than Jodie's and Chibnall. Well, that's something I've heard a lot of. I think my take is similar. Um, as I was saying earlier, I did get sidetracked. A friend of mine said that when Russell T Davies came in, a lot of his decisions were back then the term didn't exist, but they were woke, right? There was some more social identity politics and this kind of stuff, and he squeezed in a lot of his own preferences and politics and stuff like that. And it did take a while for people to get used to that brand of new Doctor Who. Um, it was hit and miss. Again, it was hit and miss. But the thing is, he is a very progressive, politically aware and savvy writer, and he's got more and more powerful down the line. So when he comes in, just like you said, Gareth, um, it may be more woke. It may be he may do more things that is like, well, I can take the kid gloves off now. I'm back. I'm going to do more of what I do best. Whether it's politics and social stuff or whatever, or identity politics, uh, all that kind of stuff. And it may be that his take on Doctor Who now is wildly different from what it was in 2005. You'd think so. Time has gone by, almost 20 years, and he will no doubt do things slightly differently as befits his knowledge and experience. And yeah, so on the one hand, he's kind of a poison chalice, isn't it? Because if he does exactly the same as he did in 2005 to 2010, people will say, "Oh, it's just the same. It's boring. It's not the same." You can't win. And if he does something too different, he'll get grief for saying it's not Doctor Who. We wanted him. So basically, either side, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? Any road. I am looking forward to seeing what he does. I've heard some really stupid comments. Someone said the other day, and it was a stranger on Instagram or something, and you should just let these comments go, but I had to reply because the comment said, "Oh, well, what he's going to do now is completely retcon from David Tennant onwards. He's going to get rid of Capaldi and Matt Smith and Jodie and do his own thing." No, he's not. He's not going to do that. That's not how the show works. It's the same as the people who want to cancel the Star Wars sequels. You don't like them, fine, but they're not going to be wiped out or retconned or anything. It's not, oh, it's all a dream. It was all a thing. Thanks, Paul. I think it's a really nice shirt. Ruin to Rights. No, Rights to Ruin. And I hope you saw my video this morning where I reviewed your EP and a t-shirt. Very good stuff. And I do need to speak to you guys about music. Anyway, getting back to it. He yeah, this idiot, whoever it was, said, "Oh, he's going to like completely retcon it." It's not how it works. Like the Timeless Child revelation that Chibnall's brought in. Star Wars Visions, not fussed on it, mate. I think you're with me on that. It's basically, I like a few anime things, a few minor things, anime, but Star Wars Visions does not float my boat. It just seems a bit wan fanky, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, come back to what this idiot said. Yeah, the Timeless Child thing. I can't stand it. I thought it was a terrible idea. And to me, the only way they can resolve that satisfactorily is to say, look, the person who told the Doctor all about the Timeless Child story was the Master. The Master hates the Doctor, hates the Time Lords, and he lies a lot to get his own way. All they have to do is have him come back and say, or have the Doctor find out that he was lying about it. Not that it didn't exist, because I don't want to retcon it like that, but just say that it was the Master who was the timeless child, which adds another level of previously unexplored interest to the Master. Fine. But that's why he hates the Doctor and the Time Lord so much, because he was the timeless child who got murdered regularly in order to find out the secret of regeneration. And the Doctor sprung from that, and Doctor was the poster boy or girl on the side of good and heroic stuff. So that would work really well. And if I was Chibs, I'd be like, yeah, let's do that, because that would actually save. He'd probably, like I said, he'd probably go back and go, yeah, that was the plan all along. But the timeless child story, if that's the Doctor, it's a load of crap. I don't like it. But yeah, that's right, Gareth. I'm glad you can get on board with that. It just makes more sense, doesn't it? Um, Talking of blasphemy, it's like Watchmen. The movie version of Watchmen, I prefer to the comic book. I know, blasphemy. Because the whole thing about getting rid of the big genetically altered, created squid monster, and having Doctor Manhattan as the scapegoat because he's the one who's radioactive and he's the one that no one trusts. It just makes more logical sense. Anyway, let's not go into other things. We were talking about Doctor Who. I wonder if a lot of people have said, "Oh yeah, he's definitely going to bring Murray Gold back to do the music." Is he though? He's used Murray Gold on lots of stuff. It doesn't mean he's going to use him. Someone else said that, "Oh yeah, he insisted on having his production company, Bad Wolf." It's not Russell T Davies' production company. It's Bad Wolf is in Swansea, and that's Julie Gardner and Jane Tranter, who were Russell's producing partners on Doctor Who, but they're doing their own thing now. But he's obviously working with the people he trusts, and it's kind of outsourced to Bad Wolf Studios, so that's fine. But it's not Russell's company. Anyway, I'm quite interested to see what he does. I had my hopes on two people for the new Doctor. There's millions of choices. Everyone's got their choices. But I really wanted Adrian Lester, and I heard he was in conversations. Although, when you think of all the other potential people, he's probably low down the list. But also Michael Sheen, who's also a big fan favorite. Everyone wants Michael Sheen, and we're all like, oh, Russell T Davies, Michael Sheen, Welsh Doctor, Welsh writer. Oh, bring it back to Wales. That would be great. But in my heart of hearts, my if I had to walk into a betting office and put money on it now, I reckon we're going to get the 14th Doctor will be Tania Miller. And Tania Miller is the very tall, bald black lady who was in Years and Years. She's been in Doctor Who before, but that's not stopping. Many actors have been in Doctor Who. Karen Gillan, Freema Agyeman, Colin Baker has been someone before the Doctor. There's lots of double casting in Doctor Who. It doesn't matter. But I think because Tania Miller is one of Russell's favorite actresses, she seems like she's not so much ticks the boxes. I don't mean that in a kind of politically correct way, but I mean she fulfills what I think is going to happen. They need to carry on. I'm not saying I want them to, but I'm saying they need to carry on. A Total Unknown would be good. When Matt Smith came in, everyone was like, "Oh, I tell you what, here we go about entitled fans." When Matt Smith was announced, the amount of whiny fans that said, he's ugly, I'm tuning out, he's so ugly." And within one series, oh my god, best Doctor ever. And that happens all the time, and I'm getting sick of it. Anyway, so Tania Miller is a very cool, almost Grace Jones type Amazonian woman, very British, very cool, very suave. Again, bald and dark and powerful, and really got some acting chops. She would be an incredible Doctor. It'd be interesting to see how, and people will ultimately compare her to Jodie, because again, it'll be the second female Doctor, and they'll be like, okay, who was? Because people have been comparing Ruth, the Ruth Doctor, with Jodie anyway, just because look, it's another female Doctor. Let's compare the two, and that's going to happen. It is going to happen. But I think if Tania Miller gets it, I'm not going to be downhearted, I'll be quite chuffed to see what she does. Um, but if it goes with a total unknown, great. I don't particularly want um, a young pretty boy again. Ollie Alexander comes to mind, and or some of the other ones. I definitely don't want Chris Bloody Marshall. His name pops up in everything. Um, every time there's a doctor, oh, Chris Marshall, Chris Marshall. No one wants Chris. Well, people do want Chris Marshall, but I don't know why. Um, but Aidan Turner, how good would he be? He's short and curly hair kind of thing, but he's quite intense and he's very charismatic. He'd be great. Anyway, I'll stop pulling names out of the hat. But what will Russell change and what will he leave the same? He's always said things like when he came back in 2005, he said the TARDIS will always be a police box. Great. He's thinking along the right lines. I'd like to know what he does with the Cybermen because they always change. Cybermen are my favourite monsters, obviously. Um, yeah, again, like you said, Gareth, never had an issue with Jodie, just the writing. Yeah, Jodie had so much potential, and the writing has let her down. Now, a good actor can elevate bad writing, but they can't, turn it around 100%. I did find that her doctor and her companions were very flat, didn't have much agency. They didn't seem to affect the story too much. And Jodie, to this, even now, most of her character's modus operandi is basically to walk around going, I don't know what's happening. Hey, that's weird. I don't know what that is. Do I know? Do I like this? I don't know. I can't remember. And it's like, stop doing that. And someone else jumped on me once and said, "Oh, all the doctors pretended they were a bit stupid. Look at Patrick Troughton." I was like, "Yeah, but Jodie's doctor was literally, oh, let's have a cup of tea. Do I like tea? I don't know if I like tea. Oh," and it's like, you're over 1,000 years old. Show some of that intelligence that even though Tom Baker was acting like a complete loon, you knew there was 800 years of um, intelligence in there. John Pertwee was often a bit hammy, but goodness me, you knew he was like this elder statesman who had like a really amazing brain that was always ticking over. Even Peter Davison, who was the youngest doctor at the time, and Matt Smith, who was even younger than Peter Davison. You knew there was some intelligence in there. But Jodie's character, she's written completely airheaded. I don't know if it's supposed to be like Chibnall's ideas. What I'll do, I'll write as if David Tennant's playing the Doctor, and then we'll get Jodie to play it, and it'll be like a new blend. It's not working. It's not working. When David Tennant used to go, I don't know. Oh well, I suppose. Huh, really? Oh well. Anyway, but you could tell that when it mattered, he'd pull out the big guns, the brains, and yes, Russell T Davies has said he would like to bring back spin-offs. He made a comment. I don't know how serious he was, but he said, we should have a Doctor Who channel. We should have like the Nyssa Adventures and loads of other things, the Rose Tyler Adventures, the Jenny Adventure, all this kind of stuff. And that's what he was doing. He had I can't remember if it was Chibnall or Moffat that started the Class series, which to be honest wasn't very good, but Russell brought out Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures, and I mean there was talk of a Jenny series, but obviously he left, and some of those didn't happen, and obviously we lost Liz Sladen, so that's not really not going to continue. But if you're watching Russell and you want some ideas for spin-offs, I have a million. Um, Everyone would like to see a Dalek series. Um, Now, executives would go, "Oh, you can't have Daleks tell stories in that voice. It would be, you know, it would be annoying to, for 30 minutes of." But if you do the whole Dalek War type stuff, like on Big Finish, or even back to the Terry Nation annuals, where there was a anti-Dalek force, so there was this constant galactic battle between the Daleks and humans across the stars. It'll be like Battlestar Galactica, and I'd make them twice as nasty, twice as brutal. I'd have them torturing people and properly killing people, not just flashing inside out. I'd have them melting people and stuff. I'd have them really terrifying, because the Daleks are becoming a bit of a joke, or they have been. So another comment here. Torture would be the place to do the woke out there stuff. Yeah, it was. It was a bit all over the place. Doctor Who needs to go back to storylines and make you think and take your own morals from it instead of blatant in your face. That's the thing. If I say anywhere that Doctor Who's too political nowadays, someone will jump on me and go, Doctor Who's always been political, and it has. But there's a difference. There's you can do a story like I'm going to use Star Trek as an example. Star Trek did a story about literally people who are half black and half white. You know, Frank Gorshin from the Batman Riddler, the '60s Batman, he was half black, half white, and his race, and it was all to do with race, and it was quite on the nose, but it was still done in the spirit of a sci-fi adventure. Um, and they talk about revolutions and all these other things, and there's certain amount of blatant hitting you over in the face with a hammer stuff with the Jodie thing. It just wasn't. It wasn't subtle and it wasn't fun. Do you know what? I don't mind if Doctor Who goes to back to mindless bad guys versus good guys. Just get off Earth for a few adventures, go to different planets, find some monsters. I don't mind if they revisit old monsters. Um, I don't mind if they invent some decent new ones. But let's have some proper adventures where you can just kids can hide behind the sofa. You can just have some adventure and some fun. It doesn't all have to have a political agenda or a ideology or identity politics. About certain species or genders being better than others and all this stuff. As long as it's like, I used to love how the John Pertwee, the third Doctor, had this kind of international kind of ambassador thing. He would end up on a planet 9 times out of 10, and he'd bump into a race of people, and instead of like someone saying, "Who are they, Doctor?" he'd say, instead of going, "Oh, I don't know, I've never met them before," he'd go, "Oh yes, I met them many times, and I brokered a peace treaty between these people and other people and stuff," and they all sort of respect him as, "Oh, we know of you from the past, and you're actually a really decent bloke," because he was doing his thing to kind of bring peace back to the galaxy without having to destroy anyone. And that was really cool because had this feeling that he was travel then. Because when he breaks into a singing a Venusian lullaby or something to calm a monster down instead of trying to destroy the monster, how cool is that? It's like I can pull. He pulled out guns and gadgets when he needed to, but that was almost the last resort for him. Um, and let's see the Doctor use their brain a little bit more. I did wonder if Peter Capaldi. I wanted an older Doctor, and he did come in, which is good. And there was a bit more of that, because when your character is older, your actor is older, it's like William Hartnell. You basically they don't run around so much, but they've got to outfox the bad guys with their brain. So it'd be interesting to see what Russell does. Really excited to see about that. Um, there are two people watching, so obviously one is Gareth, the other person is lurking. Hi, lurker. Be nice to say hello. Would be good. Um, but yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. Oh, I gotta stop saying that. It'd be interesting to see. I wonder what you lot would like to see in Doctor Who. I'm gonna put this video probably on YouTube without titles. I'll just chuck it all up, and the haters and the flamers will come for me in their droves, no doubt. May even disable comments because I don't need it. In short, very happy that Russell T Davies is back. I met him once, actually. I was walking down Newport Road, and I got opposite the hotel where we host the Tattoo Con, and he was standing there, and I did a double take, going, "Oh my God, is that Russell T Davies? Isn't he tall? He's like 6'8" or something." And I got like 100 meters past him, and I stopped, and I realized I had a copy of my book Kangazang in the bag, and I'm like, "I'm gonna give him that." I ran back. "Excuse me, Russell. Sorry to bother you." He's like, "Yes, hello. Yes, hello." I said, "Just want to say, really love your work on Doctor Who. Blah 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 blah. Blow a bit of smoke up his arse." And I said, "I want you to have a copy of my book." And he went, "Oh, what's this? Kangazang. Oh, and you're Terry Cooper, are you?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Oh, well, thanks very much." And I don't know if he threw it straight in the bin after I turned the corner. And, bloody fans. But he seemed like a nice chap. And yeah, so happy that he's back. Excited and surprised that he's back, and maybe the news that he's coming on board will engender a kind of lighter atmosphere, a more friendly atmosphere amongst the fandom, because there's lots of toxic fandom out there at the moment, and not just Doctor Who, Star Wars, Star Trek, uh, you name it. I mean, they've just announced now that the CW are going to look into doing a Babylon 5 reboot, and I never watched much Babylon 5 as a kid, and everyone's already hating it. So give it a chance. I'm still waiting for the Hulu Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is apparently on the way. And if it's rubbish, I just won't watch it. As simple as that. So that said, I own the Martin Freeman Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie, which I don't particularly love, but it's not terrible. Watch Doctor Who be based on my book. Oh, don't. Ah, Paul, you lurker. Still watching you. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah. If we have sentient space hoppers and a race of people called emos who are trying to outlaw emotions, um, and female cannibal Amazons, then yeah, it's all been ripped off from my book. So I want my money, Russell. I want my money. I don't mind if he uses any ideas. It'd be great, as long as I can get some work, as like a voice actor or an extra or something. I don't mind. So yeah, looking forward to all that. And now I am actually looking forward to the next Jodie Whittaker stories now to see if they've learned from their last two series, which were frankly underwhelming. That's the best. That's the nicest thing I can say about it. They were underwhelming. Be interesting to see. Oh, I said that phrase again. I'm looking forward to seeing what John Bishop brings to it. I think he'll bring subtitles to it because most Americans and other people who aren't from the UK will be like, I can't understand a word he's saying because of his Liverpudlian accent. Um, but who knows? Are they going to kill people off? I hope the. Sorry, I don't. I've got no time for shippers and the people who just like fantasize over relationships over characters that aren't in love with each other. Um, in this case specifically, the Thasmin shippers, just fantasizing about the 13th Doctor and Yaz being in love with each other, and there's no sign of that. They're friends, whatever. You know, uh, it's like there was definitely love between the Ninth and Rose, or Tenth and Rose, and even like Pertwee and Joe Grant. But even that was more of a sort of I don't know, fatherly uncle type thing. It wasn't like a love romantic thing. Anyway, um, yeah, I mean, go back to the 1998 99 movie with Paul McGann, and he kissed his companion twice, and everyone lost their minds. The Doctor shouldn't kiss people, and now it's like the Doctor's been bonking the first Queen Elizabeth the First, and marrying her, and marrying River Song, and having oh, I don't know. So things do change, and it will be. I'm not going to say the word. It will be fun to see how it goes, good or bad. I'm going to put the Jodie era down to, didn't do it for me. Much like I did around the Colin Baker episode. Now, again, knowing Colin Baker as I do a bit, he's a lovely bloke in real life, nothing to do with his doctor. But at that time, I didn't like what they did with the Doctor. Colin's completely transparent about it and says, "Yeah, absolutely." He said, "But to be honest, his biggest problem was the controller. I think it was Michael Grade, wasn't it? Didn't like Doctor Who and wanted it out." So he said, even if Tom Baker was still the Doctor at that point, the series would have been cancelled or Tom would have been fired. So yeah, will we go back to the original Murray Gold theme tune from 2005? That would be cool. But again, Doctor Who does change and evolve over time, and I think a new Doctor should have a new theme tune, a new TARDIS interior, keep the exterior, um, and wow, for the 60th, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? Um, we are not getting Christopher Eccleston back. That's been underlined a few times recently. He's said it in many interviews, and even more so now that Russell is back. There's no love lost between Russell T Davies and Christopher Eccleston. Eccleston has said many times, "I'm fine doing the Big Finish stuff. I'm not coming back on TV. Those days are gone." So a lot of fans, I know it's what you wish for, but wishing for it as hard as you like doesn't make it come true. I think it's probably a fair bet that we'll see David Tennant again. Don't know about Capaldi. He was given a little bit of a shitty end of the stick, to be honest. I think they did him dirty to a certain extent, so he may not come back. Matt Smith might, who knows? He's got a film coming out soon. Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright movie. Looking forward to that, 29th of October. Must be Great fun to see Matt Smith in a role that isn't the Doctor. And that's all for me. Thanks for watching, whoever you've been watching, both of you, Paul and Gareth. I'm going to cut this off now and stick this onto YouTube. I'll leave it on Facebook for a bit, then I'll probably delete it because it's a long video. But that's it. Once again, go to Rights to Ruin on Facebook, and also go to Raider and buy their t-shirts and EPs and stuff. Good rock music. Okay, homegrown rock music. That's it from me. Thanks for watching, guys and guys and gals, or just guys at the moment, and I will see you very soon. Take care now, and bye-bye then.